Hey folks, how you doing? Yeah, little Sunday podcast for you here. I posted something on Facebook, and a couple of things actually, because I do that. I post on Facebook. I have a question for you. Just simple. It's a simple question. How many people read entire posts? I mean, if I posted something up there, how many people are reading the entire post? I mean, from top to bottom, every word, getting it, understanding it. How many people are reading the entire posts of anybody? Not just me, of anybody. I read entire posts. Sometimes I skim over them because either I don't have time or it just seems interesting to me, and I take the first paragraph and then I highlight other things as well, skim over it. But today I've read complete posts. I don't always skim over it, is what I'm saying. Today I read a complete post. And I made a post of my own. I'm drinking coffee. Thank you very much. I made a post of my own. And, by the way, on this day we remember Jerry Doyle, because Jerry Doyle, he had a talk show on for a while, but he was also Garibaldi on Babylon 5. So if any Babylon 5 fans out there remember him, today we remember him because he passed away a couple of years ago. So anyway, get that out there, and lots of positive thoughts going out to his family and colleagues. But when we read the whole post of what others have put on there, when we read the entire post of something, anyone's post, it doesn't matter. Do we fill in the blanks? By the way, statistics have shown that people who read, I can't get into the logistics, if I can say that word. But I can say that there's been studies out there that show that people skim over most everything they read. They don't read every single word. And I know people who speed read much better than I do, and they remember everything. And they get the gist and the whole thing. And of course, that's been proven that they, yes, do know, what has been said and all that. But there are certain key elements about that people understand. But when people read, they skim over most everything. They'll read probably the first paragraph, catch a couple of sentences in the second one, and read it's just, people don't read anymore, is my point. People don't read entire sections anymore. And I can prove that. Take any newspaper on the newsstand. Do they have those? Take any newspaper, take any article, take anything that you see as a headline and just read the headline. Chances are, for about 70% of the time, you're going to sit there and already think that what that headline is saying is suggesting is in the article itself. Without even reading the rest of it. You just read the headline. You're going to take about 70% of your thoughts and insert and fill in the blanks. When in fact, and I did this on my own for myself. I read a headline and everything I just filled in, and then I went, wait a minute, let me read this article. Excuse me, damn sinuses. Let me read this article. And this just happened last week, as a matter of fact. And I read the whole thing. And I probably posted my, something up there on my personal Facebook page about it, saying, read the whole article or something of that nature, read the headline, and basically my point is this. The headline was misleading and literally was misleading. Now, what I mean by that is that the headline itself never really made the suggestion of what the article was truly about. Okay. So here's my point. Let me sum it up like this. Here's my point. When you read a headline, chances are that headline is not even going to be anywhere near what the article is talking about. Okay? It's not going to be anywhere near what that article is talking about. Now, let me flip that coin over and say this. Certain people write a certain way. Now, I understand that because I write, a certain way and basically in a way that's going to keep it simple and people understand what it is I'm talking about. I try to keep it as simple as I possibly can. So, when I read something, I take into consideration how that person is writing due to the fact that the author of an article of a, whatever I'm reading is forming those words in such a way to where everything is understandable. Okay? This is how I write. I just break all this complicated thought down into like one or two, various sentences, where people are hopefully can understand what it is I'm talking about. So anyway, the whole point of my introduction here is this. Whatever you read, whatever it is there, whatever you're seeing, whatever headline you're seeing is probably nowhere near what the article is truly about. I've seen people respond to certain articles I've read, they've commented on Facebook or in the comments of the article that says, this is a misleading article because the headline said one thing and, the article was something else. That's what I'm saying. Okay. And so you get this misleading misinformation, which causes you to kind of, stop your mental forward progress in trying to understand stuff. And you sit there and you're going, okay, what's this all about? Now, I said all that, and I know I probably confused the hell out of a lot of people, but let me just break this down in a more simple aspect, hopefully. And that is, what you read is not necessarily the truth. What you read is not necessarily fact-based. What you read is not necessarily reflecting what the headline of the article has suggested. Let me turn the page on that and say this. Ignorance is not bliss. By far, it is not bliss. Okay? There is absolutely, I'm going to say, let me retract my absolutely, because I'm going to blanket a whole lot of people if I use that word. There are people out there who ignore the obvious. I'll just say it that way. There are people out there that ignore the obvious. So I say all that, all in the last 7 or 8 minutes, to say this. I posted something on my Facebook page Wayne S. Pierce on Facebook. And I'll put this up on the American Liberty Radio podcast page on Facebook. But it calls into question a person's ability to understand. And that's why I started out this whole, introduction, this whole, monologue with, do people read the whole post? Do they read everything in the post? Well, I'm going to read you something I wrote, but I want you guys to go draw your own conclusions on this. Read it for yourself. And then comment to me as to your view specifically of what I'm talking about. And I posted, I have absolutely no words to explain how incredibly ignorant some people truly are. Everything, every fact about the Clintons, about Bernie Sanders, about Obama, about fake news, pick a mainstream propaganda network, they're all the same, about scientific proof of chemtrails in the air and fluoride in the water, about everything is in our faces. And people choose to ignore it. Quote, I don't want to hear all the negative things going on because I don't want it ruining my day. Unquote. Newsflash, your day is already ruined because you're not paying attention and getting up and doing something about what is going on. We have political prisoners in jail right now in Nevada that did absolutely nothing wrong except express themselves by engaging in their First Amendment right of free expression and freedom of speech. Democratic Socialists, Republican Fascists, who are the Progressive Party, are pushing for more suppression of our rights because they cater to big business, big pharma, big agra, and Islam. What, you didn't expect that last one, did you? The groups I mentioned above will stage and implement a holy war right here on U.S. soil, and that's only a fraction of what will happen, but more later. And this is the later part. I find myself, having read that, and writing it, and having read it to you, I find that I've left a whole lot of things out. Okay? I left a whole lot of things out. And, excuse me, I'm not going to go into the details of what I left out. All I can say is I left a lot out. I didn't want to write a huge, multi-paragraphed post. I'll write a note and put it in there or something. But as I look around at people, I'm struck by two things. One, I'm struck by the total denial of people when it comes to what's happening around them. Just total, they don't want to know that it's even there. They just want to pack up their stuff on the weekend and go camping or go play softball or something. They don't care what is happening. That's to me, that's the ultimate denial. I don't care. That's the ultimate denial. So anyway, the second thing that I see is people ignoring the obvious. Now, they're ignorant in that sense that they're ignoring the obvious. Are they stupid? Are they educated? Probably, but they just completely ignore the obvious. They don't care. They're grouped into they're grouped into two factions in one element, and that's they don't care. They don't care. People don't care to know what is going on around them because, number one, they don't want to get involved. Oh my God, they may have to exhibit a little responsibility for themselves and their neighborhoods and their and their, city councils and stuff and try to make things better. Oh my God, they may have to take responsibility for that. You're indirectly responsible for the store owner down the street, to the little convenience store you go to buy your sodas because you're paying for it. You know what I mean? You go in there and buy that soda, don't you? You're responsible for his growth in that neighborhood. Okay? So don't tell me that, well, they just, whatever. You want to ignore it, you go right ahead, because it's going to indirectly affect you in some way, shape, or form. So to ignore it is to, be ignorant, really. You're ignoring the obvious. And you are, and certain people will do everything they can to undermine the intelligence, or I don't want to say intelligence because I was going to talk about the CIA and the FBI and all that. Certain people undermine the observations of others and the opinions of others when they start to talk about what's going on in their neighborhood, what's going on in their city. Much like I do with the rest of the world, some people completely ignore it because they don't want to hear it. Well, regardless of whether or not you don't want to hear it, regardless of whether or not you do want to hear it, regardless of whether or not it's there and you think it shouldn't be and whatever, regardless of what's in your mind and how you speculate and create conjecture within everything that's going on and fill in the blanks of what's going on because you're not paying attention, regardless of all that, you can sit in your home, close the curtains, and just ignore the rest of the world as it goes by. And you know what? It's going to indirectly affect you, regardless of whether or not you're going to ignore it. So why not just face everything and admit, number one, you're wrong. Number two, face the facts. Number three, take responsibility for yourself and everything, that you can, that you're able to take care of everything around you. Your family, your neighborhood, your friends, your coworkers. Because seriously, we live in this country, and those that I mentioned, big agri, big pharma, and all that, they're the ones controlling Washington, D.C. and pulling the strings in your neighborhood. Oh, they're not the only ones. How about UN Agenda 21, or now that it's UN Agenda 2030? That's also in your neighborhood. You don't care? You don't know what it is? Go to startpage.com and look it up. UN Agenda 2030. There's PDFs. Even UN website has the information right from their own website. So I don't want to hear it anymore. You got all the information in front of you and you're just going to ignore it. Let's see. How ignorant is that? Now, I took the last 20 minutes, I guess, to fill you in on some of the things that I know, that I've posted, that and gave you my opinion from my observations of what it is, okay? It's not like, I hate that word, I hate that phrase. I would like you to interact with me, so go to American Liberty Radio Podcast on Facebook and drop in a comment on what I talked about. I got something else to talk about, but I'll talk about that after the break. Let me go put what I just read that I posted on my personal page. I'll go put that on American Liberty Radio Podcast on Facebook. There we go. It's there. I just... My question is, And I want to make this very clear. I want to make this, I don't know how much clearer I can make this. I have nothing against anyone who believes in God, okay? I don't. Just something I don't, because I don't. Because it's their thing to do. I spent almost 20 years, actually no, I spent close to 20 years, about 19 years, in three different churches in my life. Okay? I have my own, and I'll probably do a whole podcast on this, but I have my own view on churches and, the Church of Nicaea back in the 300s and all this and how it all came about and who did what and manipulated who and, all that. I can do a huge historical, podcast with historical facts on how the church came about and who did what, why, when, where, how, and what we're faced with today. I can do a whole podcast on that. And I will at some point. Hold me to it. This is the 16th of July 2017. Hold me to it. But I said this in another post on my personal Facebook page, Wayne S. Pierce on Facebook. I said, my thought for Sunday, 16th of July 2017, is this. Organized religion, conceived and funded by the Rockefeller and Ford Foundations in the 1950s to become non-profits, have infiltrated the churches and indoctrinated the masses, and is what is wrong with this country. Organizations associated with these two philanthropic groups are more politically influential than they are religious. Have a beautiful Sunday. Someone said corruption and greed of an out-of-control federal government is the problem with this country, not my belief in God. Well, I'm not questioning people's belief in God. I'm stating pure fact that organized religion was created, well, I shouldn't say organized religion, but the non-profit part of religion was created in the 1950s through the Ford Foundation and the Rockefeller Foundation to do one thing, to have a political base on the church's side, on the religious side, on the, God-fearing people of this country, on that side. They needed a political base of people to influence the outcome of any political campaign. And they knew that the conservatives who were in church were very, very powerful at that time in the 50s and 60s. And that power kind of declined in the late 80s, early 90s. Okay, but now it's slowly becoming more of a power base in politics. All because these organizations became nonprofit. But there's a contradiction here, and that is churches are not allowed by law, by nonprofit standards under the 501c3, they are not allowed to talk politics or support any political candidate from the pulpit. And here's my own experience from that. You're right, they can't do that. But when they get out and church is out and church letting out and people going home, the pastor, the associate pastor, whoever, will come up to you and say, hey, you going to vote for this person this week? You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's no longer your mom and pop, your grandma going to church and, worshiping on a Sunday. It has nothing to do with that. It's a social event that at the end of the service, after a couple hours, they're going to try to influence you to vote for people who are siding with them. And if you want to know... If you want to see the complete disaster that has become, just look at the Vatican in Rome. Just recently, one of the people in probably the inner circle of the Pope was arrested for having a drug-fueled gay orgy in the Vatican. You see what I'm saying here? let me also say this in connection with that, and that is the Vatican, I mentioned, is a city-state in Rome. The city of London, in London, the city of London is a city-state in England. Washington, D.C. is a city-state in the United States of America. You put those three together, they become the most powerful forces in the world. And you have elites and businesses and billionaires and people who, are making billions and billions on the backs of taxpayers and subsidies and all of that. You put those together with those three entities of the world, you're screwed. Okay? You're just basically screwed. All right? So, as we go into our lives, when we wake up every morning and go to work, when we wake up every morning and go to work, first of all, be grateful. Put your feet on the floor and just, be grateful that you're alive. I do every day. When you go to work every day, remember that if a group of people from outside of your place of business came in and started roughhousing? No. If they came in and started raiding you, if they started, attacking you, and they weren't, the police officers or whatever. If an enemy of yours came to your business and began to attack you, you were responsible to protect the people around you. You are responsible for that. Okay? You business owners out there, I'm talking directly to you, and you managers out there as well, and anybody in a business. You're protect each other, okay? But business owners, it's your responsibility. Those people come there to help you make money, to help you make a living, to help you do what you do, and to help others, obviously, if you have a product that you're, sending out to the neighborhood. You're responsible for those people there. And if you don't believe that, look at your taxes you have to pay for each individual in that place. You're responsible for those people. And if you are attacked in any way, shape, or form by enemies, foreign or domestic, you are responsible for each and every single one of those people. Now, that's a heavy burden to carry, isn't it? But guess what? It's the truth. You are the leader in that place of business. And you have the responsibility to take care of each and every single one of those people. So my question to you is, are you? Are you taking care of your people? Now, some people might say, well, my boss is not responsible for me. I'm responsible for me. Well, you'd be right. But you're also responsible for protecting your boss. So think about that one. Now, I say all that, and I'll make my point, and that is, in the last 30 minutes, let me make 2 points. One, we need to pay attention to what's going on. It's out there. It's fact. There's no longer any conspiracy theories whatsoever. It's in your face. It's true. It's fact. That's the way it is. And number two, you are responsible for taking that information and using it to develop ways to protect each other. So think about that one too while I go to break. I'm going to go to break. AmericanLibertyRadio.weebly.com.
Late Night in the Midlands is an alternative media that covers the truth, theory, and fact that the lamestream media won't talk about. We cover everything from the known and the unknown, the normal and the paranormal, the government lies and the government ties, and even their thrive. We tell what's coming, what's going, whether it be politics or archaeologists. We have an amazing fan base, and our shows are all archived to be heard millions of times more. So tell your friends, your family, and anybody you care about LateNightInTheMidlands.com. Become a member and be informed.
Growing up terrestrial radio, the future is here. Destroying the liberal media one truth bomb at a time. Independent media is shattering the liberal national security media into a million pieces. Their views of the world are based on the script the government gives them. Independent media seeks out and finds the truth and reports on what is truly going on behind the scenes. Support the truth and facts. Support independent media. Sharing the truth one fact at a time, without all the BS. American Liberty Radio Network. AmericanLibertyRadio.com. Hey folks, how you doing? Welcome back. This is American Liberty Radio Network, AmericanLibertyRadio.weebly.com. We're using the backup site right now, and that's what it is, AmericanLibertyRadio.weebly.com, because we, as if I have a mouse in my pocket, I am reconfiguring the main website. I'm just looking at a different layout. I'm looking at, that just reminded me. If there's any volunteers out there, if there's anyone that wants to volunteer to develop my page and all of that, I can't pay you. I'm sorry. I just can't do that. If you want to volunteer to help out and be a part of American Liberty Radio Network and help design the website, please contact me. I'm open to new ideas. American Liberty Radio at USA.com. American Liberty Radio at USA.com. Yes. And if you need voiceover work done, or narration or ads or whatever, come to me. I'm able to do that. Yeah. Right now I have the morning voice plus sinus problems. So this is why I sound the way I do. So, yeah. Check it out, man. Yeah. Just let me know if you need some voiceover work done. It's, just contact me. American Liberty Radio at USA.com. American Liberty Radio at USA.com. There we go. Anyway, it's just, oh my God. I really want people to understand what's going on, and that's why I try to keep it as simple as I possibly can. Okay, that's just the way it is. All right. I just feel that it's easier that way. Okay, it's just it's just so much. It's so much easier to keep it simple. Okay, so that's why I want people to understand what's going on. It's simple to understand. It is. Let me go to an article. Let me grab one first of all because I didn't bring up my browser. Here we go. Trump border wall work begins in Texas. Yay. 16th of July, 2017. Dan Lyman over at Infowars.com. Infowars.com. Go check that out. Location of possible wall segment could trigger leftists. Oh my God, everybody's being triggered. You can't see. Here's the thing, folks. I'll get to that article here in a bit. Here's the thing. I remember years ago, I remember going into a place and being able to talk to people. I have a place of business, a retail store, whatever, and telling someone, how beautiful they are, or women that were with me would tell guys how handsome they are, this kind of thing, right? You can and even your coworkers, you were able to say, hey, you look really good today. How you doing? You used to be that. You used to be able to do that. Right? You used to just be able to talk is my point. You used to be able to say things. You used to be able to talk about sports and this and that. And, you used to be able to have a conversation. Did you not? Okay. Were you not able to do that? We used to be able to have a conversation with people, your coworkers and whatever. Right? But now you cannot say anything. I was working in Reno. And I'm going to tell you where I worked because this is one of the places you never, ever want to work. Okay? And here's why. I worked at Circus Reno. If you've been to Reno, Nevada, and you've seen this big circus building, it looks like, carnival and stuff like that. I worked on the Midway. Okay, I worked on the Midway, and they have carnival games. They have, trapeze artists. They have, shows going on there in the middle of this place. And I worked there for several years. And I wasn't able to talk to my coworkers. I was not able to talk to my coworkers like we used to have, each of the games, if you've been there, if you're familiar with it. Each of the carnival-style games were right next to one another, all the way around this center stage where all the performers were and everything. And I used to just be able to look over at somebody and talk to them. Hey, how you doing? Whatever. And that was great, right? And about 6 months, or not even that, when I first started, about 6 months into it, I was told, don't talk to the person next to you. Oh, don't talk to that. You got work to do. Do this. Really? And see, I've got, problems with my knees or one of my knees. And so I have to keep moving. So I pace and I get fidgety and all that, And I start walking around. I just start walking back and forth in the game, looking, cleaning stuff up, that kind of thing, right? I was told not to do that either. So how does this relate to talking to people? Well, you can't talk to people anymore because, oh my God, you might trigger them. What kind of bullshit is that? Pardon my French, but that's what it is, okay? We can't talk to anybody anymore because we're afraid. You want to talk about walking on eggshells. You can't talk to anybody anymore because, they want you to be afraid to have a conversation with somebody about things that are outside of the, norm of what's going on. What? I don't get it. Back to this article. My point is you can't talk to anybody because, they'll fly off the handle and they're triggered. What the hell kind of bullcrap is that? Report, Trump border wall work begins in Texas. Location of possible wall segment could trigger leftists. Dan Lyman, Infowars.com, 16th of July, 2017. Work on the first section of the Trump border wall was started on federally owned land in South Texas, according to a media report. Didn't say who. Oh, TexasObserver.org. Anonymous federal officials closely associated with the project confirmed that discrete planning has been in progress for over 6 months and construction would commence in January of 2018 on a nearly 3-mile stretch of barrier that would run through the Santa Ana Wildlife Refuge near McAllen, Texas, which was a hotbed of illegal crossings during the Obama administration. Quote, the structure would consist of a concrete base which would serve as a levee and be topped with a fence made of several bollards similar to levee wall built almost a decade ago near Hidalgo, Texas. Hidalgo. There we go. God, I can't talk today. Texas Observer wrote that. Quote, the proposed plans call for building a road south of the wall and clearing refuge land on either side of the wall for surveillance cameras and light towers. For surveillance cameras and light towers. Leftists are already gearing up to fight its construction by claiming the wall will supposedly, quote, destroy the refuge, unquote, an argument which places the health and welfare of plants and birds above those of American citizens who are the victims of criminal illegal immigrants on a daily basis. I'm just going to let you go and check that out on your own. There's more to it. American Liberty Radio podcasts on Facebook. Go check that out if you would, please. I just don't, I don't get it. A bug and a bird are more important than American lives? An endangered species? Yeah, I understand it's an endangered species. I get that. But so is American lives when it comes to illegal immigration. Period. End of sentence. Dump the bull crap and get down to protecting the American people. Period. John Anthony, Infowars.com, 16th of July, 2017. 4 tools to protect your information from the Google deep state. How you can protect yourself now. With information becoming more connected each and every day, many U.S. citizens have raised concerns over privacy. Privacy activists have attacked phone companies, in particular, for giving away personal user information to the NSA with zero permission. The worst offender by far, however, isn't Verizon or AT&T, but rather an internet search engine conglomerate known as Alphabet Incorporated. Founded in 2015, the American multinational conglomerate Alphabet Incorporated was created as a parent company of Google and several former Google subsidiaries. Alphabet Incorporated made a whopping $90.27 billion, that's with a B, folks, in 2016, and has over $160 billion in total assets. If you aren't scared yet, you should be. This multinational conglomerate owns 12 separate companies, each of which has an incredible stronghold in their areas of expertise. From Calico, a longevity research company, to DeepMind, their AI research program, it's astonishing they haven't been broken up by the government for violating antitrust laws. AT&T was years ago, remember that? Worst of all, however, is Google, which has a monopoly on the internet ad market, on the internet video market, and on the internet search engine market. The IT folk at Google are experts at integrating anything and everything, so it shouldn't come as a surprise that Google has been watching you since day one. Every video you've watched on YouTube, every Google ad you've clicked on or clicked, every search you've made, every text you've sent from an Android phone, Google has recorded somewhere in the bowels of their underground multi-petabyte databases. Despite Google's massive violations of your privacy, the government likely won't stop them anytime soon, as they're an integral component of the deep state. This means it's on us to protect our own information, and while it's certainly an extra burden to bear, it beats having your every move online tracked and recorded. So there you go, folks. I'm just going to read these things. The tools by which you can protect yourself from the Google Big Brother. DuckDuckGo search engine. How about startpage.com? You can do that one too. Also, Proton Mail email service, or IPVanish, which is a VPN, which is a virtual private network. Tor browser. Onion routing software, which is very good at doing, protecting your privacy. And there's a video on this article that I want you to see. Google freaks out after Alex Jones storms headquarters. So this is going up on American Liberty Radio podcast for you all. Check it out. Let me do this. I'm publishing the article there, Google has they've got you in their sights. I'm telling you that right now. They have you in their sights. The video itself is going up on American Liberty Radio podcast page, if the damn thing would freaking work. I can't. There we go. So it's on American Liberty Radio podcast, but I'm also going to put it on the main feed for all you to check out. It's on my timeline, Wayne S. Pierce on Facebook. So there you go. I oftentimes wonder, and it's not every day, but I oftentimes wonder why people do not see. And what do I mean by that? Well, you're not paying attention. By the way, Google and Facebook have all been funded in some way, shape, or form by the CIA's financial investment firm called In-Q-Tel. The letter Q hyphen Tel, T-E-L. Go look that up. Startpage.com, DuckDuckGo, whatever. Find a search engine that's private. Startpage.com is really cool. I like them. The facts are the facts, folks. Don't ever say that it doesn't matter. Tomato, that kind of thing. If you think for 1 second you are not being tracked, think again. Go to your Android phone, go to your your Apple phone, your iPhone. I don't know about iPhone, but I know about the Android operated phones. Android OS. Go to your browser, go to your internet, type in history.google.com. And you'll find all sorts of information as to where they track you, they know where you've gone, what you've done, where you've been. Because most people now are paying for like Starbucks and things like that off of their phone. Okay, because they have the app to do that. You just point it at the object and boom, it's paid for, right? It all comes out of your account. They have all that. They have your purchasing information. They have where you've been, what you've done. They record, Catherine Albrecht, who is now operating and designing and, is the CEO of StartPage.com. She even said that her phone and the what is that, Alexa that you can get at Amazon, picked up things and recorded it. And she went into the Android, or, on her phone, went into the Android and found all these audio clips from her home. Okay? Now, I'm giving you facts. I'm not giving you specifics, but I'm giving you a plethora of facts here. You guys need to go out and check it out on your own. Now, I can sit here. I'm in the studio right now, and I'm using WaterFox, which is a Firefox brand 64-bit browser that I'm using. And I can go into history.google.com, my activity. Go to myactivity.google.com or history.google.com. Look on the left-hand side. Right there, it'll show you, it'll bring that up, location history. I'm doing this right now. I'm clicking away, folks. And you go to location history, and it will show you little red dots all over the place of where you've been. Do it. Go ahead. Don't believe me? There you go. Down at the bottom of that page, it'll say location history is on. Your location is reported by your mobile device, and only you can see it. Yeah, right. Sure. Yeah. You believe that? You believe that? I can sell you the White House right now if you believe that. It'll show your home, your work, your trips. It'll show you the days. 295 places. See your most visited places and all the places you've been based on your location history. Right there, folks. Right there. I'm not kidding you. Right freaking there. I've been to more locations than what it's showing on here, but I didn't have a phone at the time. And then if you go back to myactivity.google.com, you go to device information. It shows that. Google Play sound search history. Let's see what that says. Only you can see this data. There's nothing there, obviously, on mine. It says here, YouTube not interested feedback. Download your past searches in Google Ads settings. Ads personalization. Make the ads you see more useful to you when using Google services, search or YouTube. Okay. Remove topics you don't like and add ones you do to make the ads you see more useful. Yada, yada, yada. You understand this, folks? Do you know where I'm coming from? Are we on the same page here? Are we on the same page here? It even shows your Android history data. And it shows the time, and it shows what you've done, and it shows where you've gone on your cell phone, and it shows a whole bunch of things. what you've downloaded. You see, folks? I'm not kidding you. I am not playing with you. I am not a conspiracy theorist. I am not what you think I am. I dig deep into these things to tell you what's going on. And so does Brian Lang, and so does Nick Tucker at Distorted Reality with Nick Tucker, Brian Lang at LiveTruthRadio.com. And you're going to sit there and ignore all this? You're going to sit there in your house and turn your music up and or watch your football games or go out and play softball without even thinking one freaking second that this stuff isn't affecting you in some way, shape, or form, either directly or indirectly, as I talked about earlier. You know? Kind of makes me wonder, man. Kind of makes me wonder. You know? I look around and I see people just completely void of intelligence of this stuff. How does the military know about their enemy? They do reconnaissance. They do intelligence work. They, years ago, they had to infiltrate the enemy to find out what was going on, and then months later come back and say, here's what's going on. Now, it's all satellite, it's all cell phones, it's all recordings, it's a bunch of stuff. You want to continue to live in ignorance, you just go right ahead. It's not bliss. I can tell you that right now. You go ahead and live the way you're living and think that nothing is affecting you and that you're just going to go about your day and, go play softball, go to a restaurant, eat some dinner, whatever. By the way, if you watch shows like NCIS or any number of those shows, they'll get on there on their computer and say, we can track them, we can do this, we can find if their phone is on, we can do. Have you not figured it out yet? Have you not figured it out yet? Folks, I got a lot more, but I'm not going to go into overdrive today. I got more to talk about tomorrow on the American Liberty Radio podcast. For a second there, I sounded like Jack Nicholson. Hey, here's Johnny. Yeah, folks. You better think about what you're doing. And more than that, you better decide whether or not you're going to get up. Or as Brian Lang likes to say over at LiveTruthRadio.com, stand up, speak out, and get involved. You better think about that. Because regardless of whether you believe it or not, your life is being affected by what is going on around you. And you better take notice. Okay? That's all I got to say. That's all I got to say. As far as I'm concerned, folks, you guys are some smart cookies out there, and you know what's going on. And you obviously can go do the research. You obviously know. So, to those that are as well versed in this as I am, if not more, you know what's going on. For those ignoring the obvious, you better know what's going on. This is American Liberty Radio Network, AmericanLibertyRadio.weebly.com, and I'll talk to you later. American Liberty Radio, right here on Spreaker.com. Sharing the truth one fact at a time without all the BS.